Hello, this is my English multimodal argument, which will be Amtrak should extend the Heartland Flyer through Wichita. So, to start off the argument, let me first explain to you what Amtrak is. Amtrak is the United States' federally owned national passenger rail service provider that has been operating since 1971. Since its inception, Amtrak has infamously had financial and operational issues due to it being created to save the already collapsing passenger rail industry that was once provided by private railroads such as the Western Pacific Railroad shown on the left and the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad shown on the right. Being founded on a failing industry, Amtrak has lost billions of dollars, resulting in major passenger rail gaps throughout the country due to budget and service cuts. Seen on the map are Amtrak's current routes, along with major metropolitan areas that lack direct passenger rail service being circled in red. Going west to east, these major metro areas include Las Vegas, Nevada, Phoenix, Arizona, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Nashville, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, Columbus, Ohio, and this video's main city, Wichita, Kansas. To understand why specifically Wichita, Kansas lacks passenger rail service, we will go through some history of passenger rail in Wichita that eventually led to Amtrak cutting service to Wichita. Wichita was once served by multiple railroads before Amtrak began service to the city. The most notable railroads that served Wichita included the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad, the Missouri Pacific Railroad, the Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Railroad, and the St. Louis San Francisco Railroad. As previously mentioned, the private railroads began to discontinue passenger service due to the industry losing profits to other modes of transport like the automobile and the airplane, and focusing on shipping freight, which was profiting. Those four companies that served Wichita ended up merging with or being acquired by other railroads. This resulted in only Union Pacific and BNSF shipping only freight through Wichita. These railroads once provided passenger rail service, as seen here with passenger trains from the Santa Fe Railroad and the Rock Island Railroad pulling into Wichita's Union Station. One such passenger line was the Santa Fe's Texas Chief that ran from Chicago, Illinois to Galveston, Texas, which included a stop in Wichita. The Texas Chief was known for its luxury and speed, featuring modern amenities such as air conditioning, diners, and lounges. The line was also known for its punctuality and efficiency, covering 1,410 miles in 26 hours and 15 minutes, which was remarkable for the time. As previously mentioned, the passenger rail industry losing profits resulted in Amtrak taking over the Texas Chief in 1974, which is why I mentioned that specific line earlier. Amtrak struggled to maintain the service to the same standard as the Santa Fe standard. For this reason, the Santa Fe Railroad did not want Amtrak's version of the Texas Chief to be known by the same name, so Amtrak renamed the line to the Lone Star. The Lone Star would operate until forced budget cuts by the Amtrak Reorganization Act of 1979 resulted in Amtrak ending the service that same year. This has left Wichita without passenger rail service ever since. The Lone Star was not canceled due to it being unpopular. Rather, the budget cuts left Amtrak without much choice. Now that the history of why Wichita lacks passenger rail service has been covered, we can now move on to how Amtrak could bring service back to Wichita. To start off, there are two Amtrak lines that I would like to cover, those being the Southwest Chief and the Heartland Flyer. The Heartland Flyer is a line that runs from Fort Worth, Texas to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The Southwest Chief is a transcontinental line that runs from Chicago to Los Angeles, connecting multiple cities along its over 2,000-mile long route, including Kansas City, Missouri, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. The Southwest Chief also includes a stop in Newton, Kansas, which is about 25 miles north of Wichita. To bring back passenger rail service to Wichita, Amtrak, in collaboration with state governments, should extend the Heartland Flyer north all the way to Newton, Kansas, which would connect the Heartland Flyer with the Southwest Chief. This would bring back passenger rail service to Wichita, as well as connecting smaller cities along the route. As previously stated, Amtrak has had financial issues since its creation. But any transportation network, even highways, requires state funding, as it is very hard for any transportation to turn a profit. Therefore, state governments need to collaborate to extend the Heartland Flyer, which was recently at risk of being discontinued due to the Texas legislature declining its continued funding. This was until a Texas group gave millions of dollars to keep the line running. The Kansas Department of Transportation also expects that restoring the tracks to allow for the extension will cost up to $300 million. It is reasonable to be skeptical of extending the Heartland Flyer when funding seems unstable, as well as the cost of the extension being high. Combine this with Amtrak ridership being much lower compared to the amount of people who drive or fly to their destination, along with American passenger rail in general being subpar, especially compared to Europe and countries like China, Japan, and South Korea, which have state-of-the-art railroad networks. Despite these concerns and skepticisms, I will begin to explain the benefits of extending the Heartland Flyer and why it is a valuable investment. As for train ridership, while low compared to other modes of transportation, has been showing national trends that more Americans are willing to take the train. Amtrak has been seeing record ridership and exceeding ridership expectations on new lines. Two of these lines include the Borealis line, which runs from Chicago to St. Paul, Minnesota, and the Mardi Gras line, which runs from New Orleans, Louisiana to Mobile, Alabama. These two lines began service in 2024 and 2025 respectively, and both have exceeded ridership expectations since their opening. Going back to national trends, in the fiscal year 2024, Amtrak delivered 32.8 million customer trips, which was the most in its history. In the fiscal year 2025, Amtrak broke its ridership record again with 34.5 million customer trips, which is now the highest it has ever been. Amtrak has also been making bigger investments into its infrastructure. A big factor to emphasize is not just that extending the Heartland Flyer to Newton would bring back passenger rail service to Wichita, but that it also provides more connectivity throughout the region. Rail connectivity stimulates the economy through the facilitation of moving goods and people while being economically sustainable, as well as changing property values, which can create new economic opportunities. The extension would form more connections between major metropolitan areas as seen on the map. Connecting the Heartland Flyer to the Southwest Chief would connect Wichita to regional cities like Oklahoma City, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and Kansas City. It would also connect Wichita beyond its region to cities like Chicago and Los Angeles. This connection would not just benefit Wichita, but it would benefit all of those cities since they would be better connected to each other. This would strengthen the rail network to better serve millions of people. I personally would benefit from this extension since I live in the Wichita area and I have family in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I personally do not like driving very long distances, but it is our only choice since flying can be expensive and the Southwest Chief stops in Newton, which is not only up north, but also stops there at 2 in the morning, making it inconvenient to take the train to Albuquerque. Extending the Heartland Flyer would bring that connection closer and allow my family to take the train to Albuquerque, which is then connected to Santa Fe by commuter rail, allowing us to see family without having to suffer the long drive. I hope that this shows why I would love to see this extension come to fruition, as well as Wichita being a gateway for people traveling from abroad. So, I have been speaking about how extending the Heartland Flyer would bring in more benefits than negatives. But what would those benefits actually look like? Besides a personal testimony of why I would benefit from this extension, let's look at the economic and social benefits of passenger rail. To start off, there is the benefit of cost effectiveness. Trains can move people and goods at a cheaper rate compared to cars or planes. Cheaper transportation leads to economic growth, as there is more money to spend in the destination rather than on the transportation. It is expected that the Heartland Flyer extension will allow for up to $64.8 million in economic activity annually, plus $1.9 billion in economic activity from one-time capital investments. Building more passenger rail also creates jobs, since it takes much manufacturing, engineering, and logistics. Expanding the passenger rail network would stimulate the economy and secure jobs, since not only do you have to build the rail, but you have to maintain it as well, securing those jobs in the process. Trains are efficient all around. As previously mentioned, they can transport high capacities for a lower cost. They are also energy efficient while doing so, especially compared to cars and trucks. Trains have much lower carbon emissions than automotive transport, which makes them efficient while also being environmentally friendly. Adding more forms of transportation reduces car dependency that we see in the United States, which also allows for less traffic, which then reduces wear and tear on highways. Taking the train is also safer than driving. With cars being the primary mode of transportation in the United States, this puts a lot of people at risk, since people who should probably not be driving have no other choice, which puts more people at risk. On top of that, there are people who simply do not like driving, so a reliable train can take care of their transportation needs as well. Groups of people, such as college students and the elderly, who might not have the same access or ability to drive, would benefit from rail connectivity. More people taking the train also means less traffic on the highways. So not only does that mean that there are less people at risk on the highways, but the reduction of traffic congestion makes for a better driving experience for those who do like to drive, while also making it safer. That concludes my argument for why I believe that Amtrak should extend the Heartland Flyer to Newton, as seen from the points of ridership trends, connectivity, and the benefits of rail, such as the efficiency, environmental friendliness, safety, and job creation. Here are my works cited, and thank you for watching.